Welcome everyone to the podcast, Crypto Podcast with me, Coach 23, where we talk about pro wrestling, pop culture, and life in general. So it's a beautiful Sunday morning. Not quite so. Kinda windy, cold, but bad weather, as the people call it. But I like this weather. I love this weather. I mean, we will miss this weather by March, April, and May because it'll definitely be hot. So yeah, so it's Sunday. I didn't do a show yesterday because it's my wife's day off. We did a lot of things house related. Uh, yeah, did the laundry, whatnot, and here we are. So SmackDown was yesterday, and it was a decent SmackDown, a decent episode of SmackDown. So show opened with Jey Uso strutting his stuff because according to him he has to talk to Cody about WrestleMania plans, and he's still going to the motions of he will still challenge Gunther instead of Cody. So it's just a little tease, but yeah. And afterwards they had a confrontation. They talked. They said that what, it will happen. Definitely. A Cody J Uso match will happen, but definitely not in WrestleMania. It will be definitely somewhere else. But who knows, right? Then afterwards, they were confronted by Jacob Fatu and Tamatonga, setting up a tag team match at the main event of SmackDown. Uh, Carmelo Hayes, talked to Nick Aldis, challenging someone, and he was challenged by Akira Tozawa of Monday Night Raw because of what happened at Royal Rumble last week. Um, Backstage segment between Miz and Cody with Nakamura in the background. Who is he looming to? Are they going to make Miz another face again here? I don't know. With Nakamura, anything can happen. And afterward, it's a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber, men's Elimination Chamber match in Toronto. So it was a triple threat match between Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, and Big Jimmy Uso. Uh, great tag team, great tag team. Sorry, great triple threat match. Drew McIntyre won to enter to qualify for the men's Royal Rumble. So far, they have John Cena, they have CM Punk, and now Drew McIntyre with qualifying matches again next week on Monday Night Raw between Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio. And I believe in a couple of weeks it will be Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Who I don't know what's the fifth one. Oh no, there's a fifth one. Damian McIntyre, sorry. Damian Priest, um, Jacob Fatu, and Braun Strowman next week for SmackDown. So they're going to complete the the spot for men's elimination chamber in Toronto. Then actually great finish of what happened on the triple threat match. Uh, LA Knight was about to hit the BFT on Jey Uso, and while their backs are turned, a claymore from Drew McIntyre to the back of the head of LA Knight, and while he was falling, he was able to execute the BFT, but Drew McIntyre was able to hit the claymore, and he claimed the victory. So afterward, Carmelo Hayes finally got a win after a couple of weeks or few weeks of losing streak. Was able to beat Akira Tozawa, which is a great match between the two. Give Akira Tozawa a solid opponent in a match, he can deliver. Enough said. Then confrontation between the women's winner of the Women's Royal Rumble 2025, Charlotte Flair. Again, she's asking for inspiration and she asked for Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton said that, choose me, because they talk. It's just a normal promo of one challenging the other. And she called Tiffany Stratton a child when she called Rhea Ripley a kid last Monday. She called Tiffany Stratton a child. But you know, at least 80 to 90% sure it will be Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. And then there's a women's qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber for the women's division. Alexa Bliss versus Candice LeRae. And the returning Little Miss Bliss won with a version of Sister Abigail DDT, what Joe Tessitore told or said. So it's a position of the Sister Abigail finisher of the late great Bray Wyatt, but she modifies it with a DDT. So it's like a modified swinging DDT. Then another Arthur act or comedy act. He was helping uh Tozawa because Tozawa was beat up. Then he let him go, let him fell on the floor because he has to congratulate Jey Uso from winning the King of the Ring. It's a Royal Rumble, but yeah, Arthur is a national treasure, not just in the U.S. but all over the world or the wrestling business. And afterward is the main event: Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso teaming up against the team of Tamatonga and Jacob Fatu. Solid, great tag team match. I wasn't able to watch the entire show because I had my headset in, was listening. So it's like what how it feels if you're during the 60s when boxing was live and you don't have TV or pay-per-view or how to pay for it. You just listen to radio. That's how I felt. But well, yeah, so based on my understanding, it was a uh solid tag team match between it's normal tag team match. And then who came out after the match? Well again, Cody and Jay won, but Solo Sikoa returns, executing the Samoan spike on Cody Rhodes. So I don't know what's the plan. Possibly a placeholder championship match by Elimination Chamber or somewhere around the road between here to WrestleMania. But who knows? But actually, it's you know, it storytelling wise, the last shot of Solo Sikoa attacking Cody again. People are saying, "Ah, again, it's Cody versus Solo Sikoa." Like I said, there's not that a lot of heels or main event heels in on SmackDown right now. Um, the bloodline or the former bloodline of Solo, Jacob, Tama. Now they have Drew, but according to plans, they'll be setting up a Drew versus Cody feud by the summer. Whether it's for the title or not, we have no clue or idea because nobody really knows what will happen at WrestleMania. Um, or between here and summer. So they're really lacking in heels. Um, so it's hard to have Cody because right now Kevin Owens is probably targeting Sami Zayn, but according to reports, Sami Zayn has a kayfabe injury, be out indefinitely. But again, best guess that I have is that they will not have Sami versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania because they have done that. Even Drew versus Roman Reigns, they did that in WrestleMania 35. But Sami versus KO, for me, what appropriate will be Toronto, Elimination Chamber Toronto. Both are Canadians or Canadian, citizens and whatnot, or both Canadians. And still, if you give Kevin Owens Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, where do you place Randy Orton there? Because again prediction, opinion, best guess, it will be Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for WrestleMania 41. I guess it makes sense because storyline wise, it was Kevin Owens who took out Randy Orton last year, and with a pile driver, so setting up possibly a feud between the two. Uh, so yeah, that's it. It's actually a simple show for SmackDown. They're more on storyline building still. The qualifying for Elimination Chamber in Toronto in March. So they're just setting up. Like I said, it's it's the thing that matters between here to WrestleMania because they're building the road to WrestleMania. Royal Rumble started with it, and they're just moving, roadblock by every show for Raw and SmackDown. with Elimination Chamber, then no PLEs afterwards. April 16, I believe, or April, mid-April, it will be WrestleMania. They changed the date of WrestleMania because they said, why are they changing the date? Because normally it's late March or early April. They're avoiding the championship NCAA Men's Championship Basketball because it's similar with the Super Bowl of how big college basketball is, especially the finals or the championship. So they don't want to have that competition. I believe it will be it. If I'm correct, it will also happen at Las Vegas or something or somewhere else. So they don't want to challenge it hype wise. That's why they move WrestleMania from late March or early April to mid-April, which also makes sense for them business wise. And yeah, so I'm still sticking on my belief or opinion that it will be still Cody versus Cena or whoever else at WrestleMania. Like I said, it's the predictable unpredictability of the creative team. Are they setting up Roman, CM Punk, Seth Rollins? We don't know. Like I said, um, because most based on really heavy rumors right now that whether it's internet wise or whatnot, and if nobody knows how Hollywood movies are being produced or shoot or film, even if they say, oh, the post production is beginning, yeah, but sometimes directors, producers said, I think this scene shouldn't be there. We should do a reshoot. So there's, I believe that The Rock or Dwayne Johnson is still locked in doing pre-shoots or reshoots for Moana, the live action Moana. So he can't afford to get injured or hurt. It happened to him in 2013 after WrestleMania 29. He got injured during his match with John Cena, and I believe they already have a scheduled reshoots for GI Joe Retaliation back then, and he wasn't able to do it because he had to had surgery, a pelvis injury or surgery, so they weren't able to finish the shoot, and they have to extend GI Joe for another year, I believe. So yeah, and he has to pay penalty or insurance and whatnot, and they don't want that. Hollywood movies are really strict in terms of filming or whatnot. For example, if they say uh, they have to take lunch at exactly 12 noon, they have to take lunch at exactly 12 noon because if they don't, they will pay penalty to the unions or the union of those workers. So it's really strict. That's why you have to understand where the rock is coming from because business wise, after the success of Moana 2 last year, make raking $1 billion in the box office worldwide. You have to understand that Disney loves rock right now. So yeah, that's it. That's my take. Uh, then another news during this weekend is talent cuts at the WWE. What's my opinion about it? Uh, well, talent cuts really happens. It's not just in wrestling. It happens anywhere or everywhere at all. Whether it's as long as it's in a corporate business environment, even if you're raking, record-setting revenue for your company and whatnot, sometimes you have to do budget cuts. You have to do talent cuts. And based on the list that I saw of the talent cuts, they released Vinci, Sonia Deville, um, who else? They released Isla Dawn. They released uh, the Good Brothers. Surprisingly, not really surprisingly. I'm sorry. Uh, they released Paul Ellering and AOP, among other names. Cedric Alexander as well. I guess Cedric Alexander could be teasing going to after 90 days going to AEW since his former Hurt Business brethren are there. That's my best guess. People are saying they will go to TNA or New Japan. Who knows? Talent cuts are essential, or the negative essential in any business, whether you're doing record setting, like I said, record setting business or whatnot. Um, as I said on a few episodes ago, that business is essential to a fan, should be essential to a fan, and you shouldn't just be a fan of, you just watch, because you will be surprised if you are not following the business. If you don't want to follow it 100%, that's fine. But at least you need to have an idea of how business works, because people are surprised when even my friends who are not at the time internet savvy or whatnot, because at the time during 2001, as I believe WWE was being shown in a channel here in Manila or in the Philippines called Star Sports. It was owned by the Fox Media Company, I believe, but here in Asia. But before February 2001, I believe they lost their contract. WWE and Star Sports weren't able to, to face or meet halfway on a contract. So WWE left Star Sports. And so Solar Sports or Solar Channel or Star Entertainment, I'm sorry, they bought the contract of WCW Nitro February of 20 of 2001. And long story short, after a few weeks, maybe a month or month and a half or so, WWE bought WCW. And wrestling didn't exist here in Manila for a specific period of time. I believe between 2001 to late 2000 to early 2003. That's how long. A year and a half. There's no wrestling here in the Philippines. So what I did, internet was still at its infancy at that time here in the Philippines. I still go for an internet shop. Oh, Shawn Michaels is back. Oh, Stone Cold Steve Austin turned his back on the fans and allied with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 17 because we weren't able to get WrestleMania 17 here. I'm like, oh, that sucks. So that's why I ingrated myself or immersed myself with the business of pro wrestling. How back then I was studying at PUP and studying business administration, majored in marketing. So it got me interested more even as I grow up. Okay, because I don't want to do that again. I don't want to have that feeling because like I said, my fandom of wrestling, me being a fan for 38 years or so, it's longer than my relationship with my wife, even when she was still my girlfriend. It's the single longest relationship I had with my after my family, my mom and my dad. My siblings even it's older than my siblings. So that's how long I've been a fan, and I don't want to have that feeling again of, oh, we lost wrestling again. So as much as possible, I studied the business of wrestling as well, because for me, it's as entertaining to me as watching the show, as being a kayfabe fan of, oh, great storyline, oh, great matches. But yeah, when I hear the attendance of yeah this and that, I understand it. So when talent cuts like this happens, it's either two ways. They really need the money to save because back in the pandemic they did that. They had that. They have no fans. They're only WWE was thriving because of sponsorship and their TV deals, but there's no live attendance. Merch was being sold as I believe as well because of you can just deliver it, order it online, deliver it. But they did had a lot of talent cuts back then. For low sum, then they ask people to come back, and people say Vince is evil because he. No, talent cuts are essential because if something is not working, what do you have to do? Instead of someone staying, backstage in catering or whatnot, then do it. Right now, AEW, I believe, is doing a little bit okay in terms of talents because if the younger ones, I believe, or even the veterans who, who has Tony Khan's ear. For example, a Jericho or a John Moxley. I want to go to New Japan. I want to go to GCW. I want to go to Bloodsport. I want to go here and there. And Tony Khan allows it. Tony Khan doesn't have to pay John Moxley or Chris Jericho their money when they do those independent shows. The independent shows or promoters have to pay for that talent. That's why if they get injured, they have to pay for their own medical expenses and not Tony Khan because hey, you didn't get hurt on my show, you got hurt doing that. Now WWE has a partnership with TNA, so probably people are going to TNA. Um, NXT, they can do go to the independent scene, New Japan, what not. But like I said, it's essential. Good brothers. Currently, fortunately for Carl Anderson, he's hurt. He's been on rehab doing, I believe, have a torn shoulder or labrum, and it sucks being let go while you're injured. But they still have 90 days. They still getting paid 90 days for doing nothing at all. So, sorry, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they're veterans of the business and they can survive anywhere. I believe WWE was able to pay them for great contracts during their return. But yeah, if they still want to wrestle, New Japan is the way for them. I don't think that they're even welcome in. Well, if there were the elite or technically Gold Bullet Club doesn't really have a stranglehold anymore with AEW, so I don't think they're there. I don't know if they're still friends with Kenny Omega. Who knows? We don't know. But yeah, as I said, it's essential because we cannot really be sad for these folks. I know it's most of them. It's their dream of wrestling for WWE, and they were able to do so. Now it's time for them. Like I said, case in point, look at Cody Rhodes. He came back, leaving WWE. He wasn't let go. He demanded for a release. He got his release. He left, toiled the independent scene, went to New Japan, built a relationship there, and they formed AEW. Then he came back to WWE bigger than ever. I'm not saying maybe yeah for guys like Anderson or Gallows, it might be too late for them to do so. They can come back, as producers or agents or part of the creative team because they're really smart. Because long story short, for Carl Anderson, for those who are not in the know, uh, he said that once upon a time he was tasked to be a substitute booker or creative writer for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he was able to do so. But they said, no, I cannot really do this. I want to be a wrestler. Give it to someone else, and they gave it to Gado. So you cannot really say that why are they hiring people and letting people go? Because talent works in circle. Um, it's the business. It doesn't matter if they're breaking their revenue is a billion and a half for last year, but they still have to earn a lot. And if you're just paying for talents that you're not using, then you're just wasting money. Look at AEW. Because Tony Khan said that he's not into firing people. Well, the only two people that he fired were CM Punk and Bear Bronson, I believe, because for CM Punk, he choked out um, Jack Perry. For Bear Bronson, I believe there was an allegation of him attacking his wife or fiance. Then he was let go by AEW this weekend. And yeah, if he doesn't like you, he will not renew your contract. Weird. That's how, because for me, I'd rather have someone fire me because at least I know the reason. If you're not, if you still have me and not use me, sure you're paying me money, but in a way it's like losing. You're helping that person or have that person lose his focus, lose his love for wrestling even. It's like what am I doing? It's their dream to do so. Trust me, I've been let go in my company and companies I worked with before. I left on my own accord. For me, my style is I never, well, I leave the company. I never let them fire me. I leave the company if I, it's not that if I don't get things my way, but in a way, if I know my skills is not really, immersed or inept with that, or I'm inept, I'm not, it's not inept, but it's not in line with the company, then I look for something new. I look for something better. So That's just me. But that's how the business of wrestling works. It doesn't matter if the revenue is really really high. Like I said, if they're not using most of the talents even that they have. Blair Davenport once they plucked plucked her from NXT to SmackDown. She didn't really got traction, got injured. So you have to do like I said, it's like the Jey Uso analogy. Why is Jey Uso the chosen one to win the Rumble this year? He brings good business to WWE, merchandise wise, attendance wise, and as I even said in the GC, people are still hating on Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. But look how they hate, how fans hate Jey Uso in Cleveland, in Nashville, or is it Memphis? No, Memphis yesterday. How they hate him, but they're doing the yeet for 10 minutes. That's how the impact of Jey Uso. Jey Uso, I can clearly say that his business impact in WWE right now is similar with Daniel Bryan when he was doing the Yes movement in 2013, 2014. He's not bringing good ratings TV wise or viewership, but he's doing good business in the other aspect, live attendance, merchandise sales, uh, a make a wish, booking and make a wish, doing interviews and so. That's how Jey Uso is being perceived in WWE right now, in my opinion. Sure, you got your John Cena's, your Roman Reigns, your CM Punk, or Seth Rollins. They still do good business. Cody Rhodes, they still do good business. But Jey Uso is someone that works hard. If you can go back since 2020, during the right hand man era of Jey Uso and the starting of the Bloodline storyline until now, Jey Uso only left WWE for like 4 weeks, and that was way back in 2023 when he left SmackDown and joined Raw. He said, I quit SmackDown, then he went Raw a couple of weeks after. That's the only time I believe he was out for a long time. 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks even. He never took a vacation. That's how dedication works. That's how hard work pays with WWE. Or even if you look right now, the Polovec era. That's why he's giving Jey Uso a chance. That's why he's letting talents go for a while because for them, it's never a closed door for WWE. Cody Rhodes, CM Punk came back. Mark Henry is on a legend still, I believe. Bully Ray as well. They left. Those people left WWE and they came back initially or afterwards. So it is sad that people were letting go, especially with the blockbuster deals, revenue, profit. But in the end, it's a business that you have to run in circles. And that's my opinion about it. People can hate me about it. People can understand why. But people were even saying, oh, at least AEW doesn't fire people. Yeah, but they're not using people, paying them, and most of them are losing their, you know, in terms body callus. It happened to CM Punk. He got used a lot, got injured a lot. Now in WWE, he's able to balance. He's able to balance his schedule. Okay, I can wrestle here. I can wrestle here. I don't have to wrestle here. I don't have to wrestle there. So it's really more on a balance. So right now, WWE is tipping their scales. They're hiring NIL talents with NXT. They're hiring WWID for independent wrestlers. They have to immerse in new business as well. That's why they have to let people who are not getting over with the fans, and as well, it's not really helping the business out. But eventually, those people will come back. Believe me, it's the circle of life. It's the circle of life in wrestling. And I'm just a wrestling fan. I'm not even in the business itself. So yeah, that's just my take about it. So yeah, again, I appreciate the viewers who are just when they click on the channel or click on my page, YouTube page, channel, whatnot. Right now, I with 57 or so episodes for the podcast, Ripter Podcast. Before it was Pop in Wrestling Podcast. We have 1,985 views for all 57 episodes, plus the two episodes of that were free. So we're breaking 2,000, I believe, by today. Like I said, it's in my wildest dream. I was like when I started this podcast last year. Oh my child, this my kid was waving at you guys. I'm sorry. That's my co-host. Um, in my wildest dream last year when I started this, I believe I said that okay, by the end of 2025, which is this year, that's the time I'll be getting 2,000 viewers or views, not viewers, views, or maybe possibly 2,500, 3,000 was the high mark. 2,000, I believe I said. By the end of 2025, I'll be hitting 2,000 views. I hit it in February when I started this in March and September last year. So that's roughly September, October, November, December, January, 5 months. And I hit 2,000. And I said to myself, I'll be getting that 2,000 viewership or views by the end of this year. And for those who are just accidentally just clicking on this channel by typing in your favorite, when I put tags on it, thank you still because people are returning even. They're returning viewers. I guess most of those are my friends in the Worldwide Wrestling Society page. Follow them in Facebook. Follow me on Pop in Wrestling Podcast in Facebook as well, in TikTok, in Instagram. I'll be uploading videos there. Probably I'll be uploading this rare podcast as well on Spotify. It's just that it's only a matter of time. I'm a lazy SOB. But I'll be doing that probably in the next few weeks or so. Yeah, I still have doing collaboration with the Wrestling Geeks podcast. Wasn't able to do it last week, but definitely if Don, Leo will invite me by before Elimination Chamber, we'll be definitely doing that. But yeah, my appreciation to you guys. Really, really appreciate it. We're 2,000 views strong now, and I'm happy because of it. I'm not monetizing anything. I'm not earning money. I don't have ads yet. And that's fine. I'm here to do that in the future, but not now. Because it's not really on my end. Uh, but the end goal is that. So, but again, my appreciation. I'm thankful for everyone. I'm grateful to everyone who views or watch this little podcast of mine. This grifter right here. So thank you guys. This is again the podcast Grifter podcast with me, Coach 93. We talk about pro wrestling, pop culture, and life in general. So see you guys soon. Probably tomorrow. But I'll think of another episode. Yeah. See you guys.